Okay, well then, I think that is a nice enough long musical intro for us. Hey, it's Francisco here with Charles for Sports Goofs number 187. And how you doing, my man? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm tired. We're testing out this headset for the
Mm.
show. Hopefully that works in pretty well. We'll see. And my neck's kind of hurt because I'm old. My shoulder kind of hurts because I'm old. And
Yeah.
it's one of those Tuesdays where you're tired and you had to be an attorney, and it wasn't bad. And I have had my sugar. I did have my cookies and cream brownie that I
Mm.
had after my lunch when I got back from court as my treat for myself.
Nice. Very good. Well, Charles, we're going to try and have some dumb fun today because that's the title of this episode. Because there's some dumb stuff happening and it's fun. And so I decided, hey, let's have some dumb fun today. And, it's mainly, I've been focusing on the hockey world because dumb stuff is happening there. Weird stuff is happening there. Ominous things are happening there, if I could say so. But it's been kind of strange lately. And so there's that. The NBA in-season tournament stuff is still, I guess this is the last day or whatever of the group
Thank God.
play, what they're trying to call it. And the Heat are playing the Bucks tonight. The Panthers are playing the Leafs, so that'll be fun. And basketball, basketball, hockey, football, all that stuff is happening. And we'll talk the gaming and the what have you, and what's not. So there you go. Let's see. Well, let's start with this, Charles, because you're starting to get into this world a little bit, and also at the end we're gonna do the big Survivor Series review. Because Charles has
Mm-hmm.
stuff to say about that. Because things happened where he was like tweeting things and sending stuff to the group chat, like, oh my god. So we got to get to that. That's for sure. But as far as the hockey world is concerned, Charles, I don't know what's happening with the Chicago Blackhawks.
I know what's happening with Chicago Blackhawks.
I mean, so right now, there's an air of mystery going on right now, and I saw their GM's press conference, but this started some time back where it was found out that Corey Perry was actually, it was during a game day, he was pulled from the lineup that day and then put on like a suspended leave of some sort. And then he was basically off the team. They sent him away. And today he's been put on waivers. They are trying to terminate his contract with the Chicago Blackhawks. And there are just rumors swirling about because nobody knows exactly what the heck went down over there. Now, I guess the funny thing that came out was somebody, this probably was a joke post somewhere. Someone posted that Corey Perry had slept with Connor Bedard's mom, and that was the
And slept, we mean sexual intercourse, kids.
yes, he had he did the hoo ha with
Stifler's mom.
yeah, exactly. So that was the somebody that just put out there into the ether, and it became something as everybody was joking around because I mean Connor Bedard is 18 years old, and his mother. I mean, Corey Perry could be his father, just given age wise. Yes, he could be his father, and Connor Bedard's mom. A lot of people were just looking at him, and they're like, "Would." so so that's what's been going down as of late. And of course you get all the memes, everybody's laughing and joking and a bunch of stuff. I get it. I sent it to you because I'm like, there's something spicy going on in Chicago. That's because we didn't really hear anything coming out of the Blackhawks, nothing from Corey Perry, nothing from any of the teammates. And it was kind of like what exactly happened. Now, there's a history to this, Charles, that a very unfortunate history that came out about the Chicago Blackhawks organization with regards to prior players and misconduct. So, and the Blackhawks burying that and trying to get away from it and not acknowledge it or try and help anybody. And there's new ownership, or at least the old owner died, and now his kids are in charge, and there's new general managers, new everything, right? It's been a whole thing. That's everything from that prior Blackhawks regime is pretty much gone, and they want to show that that this is a much more accountable, much more responsible version of this team. And so this comes out, or it doesn't really come out, it just comes out that he's gone. And I saw the press conference from their general manager, Kyle Davidson, and it was about like 9 minutes long and didn't really say anything definitive. It was more about, one of the questions that someone had asked is there any criminality to it? Is it like something like that? He's like, no. So for now, he's saying no, that nothing to do with any sort of criminal aspect to what he's doing. We don't know if it's something with regards to any sort of like substance abuse or anything like that. We don't know if it was from what it was said. They've said it has nothing to do with any of the teammates. So it was not something within the locker room, but that it was something that was unforgivable. Now, Charles, how do you interpret that?
Oh, me being Mr. Assumptions here, and I know the phrase, don't make assumptions because you make an ass out of you and me kind of thing. It is vastly, it hits all the check boxes of what Twitter has it to be, because it doesn't affect the teammates because it's the teammates' mother. Whether or not that's true, accurate, correct, we can't speak to it. I just, as I keep hitting this mic, as I talk with my hands, it's one of those things where you kind of want it to be true, just for the sheer hilarity of it, to find your hockey Zach Wilson, right? Even though Corey Perry is much older. I did a deep dive.
Or hockey Delonte West.
Hockey Delonte West. I have been very into hockey lately, for obvious reasons, as we talk about, because I bought said games to go from there. But back to the point across, I mean, it doesn't help that the move is done like immediately. It doesn't help that it's done with a swift fashion. It doesn't help that its timing is just literally within the 24 hours of the accusations that Corey Perry could be Connor Bedard's stepdaddy. Well, but we want it because we need humor like that. It's so rare that you find it.
Out of all those rumors, well, it's really, this is the only rumor. Everybody else is speculating about other stuff, but the sleeping with the mom thing would be like the most light of all those things. So it'd just be like, that's
conduct inappropriate to the team, and it doesn't have to actually be that he had sex with her. It could be that he would try to. And Corey Perry's 38.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in the context of anything that's even more than that. Now, this could be like an Ime Udoka type of thing where he's with somebody in the office,
The question is, we humor about it, but is it because, male agenda in sports and media wants to fist bump? And I'm just there for the humor. I really don't care if Corey Perry is, doing X, Y, Z. The Blackhawks have a degenerate history from what the sexual abuse allegations were, 10 years ago, 13 years ago, they were alleged.
Yeah.
It's just timing that doesn't work within the speculation, or works well for the speculation as opposed to something completely off guard. Because you have to really think of, it's not so much that he's put on leave, it's the fact that he's going to get his contract terminated regardless. That's what the intention was. I read that statement. So for the humor of it, you want it, but at the end of the day, is he even an impact player that should matter anymore if it didn't affect the rumors of Connor Bedard's mom, right?
Okay. I mean, as far as Corey Perry's career is concerned, I mean, the guy he's already won a Stanley Cup. He won it back in
Isn't Ramirez being like the most hated guy?
Well,
Or one
I
of the
don't know
most hated guys?
I think a lot of fans or don't like him. He's kind of he's a scrappy, chippy guy as well. So if he's not on your team, you would most likely not like him.
Mm-hmm.
He's won his cup with the Ducks. That's the team he's most known for, and then he went off to Dallas. Was with the Stars during the pandemic season. Went to the Cup final there. Went to Montreal. Went to the Cup final there, and then we spent last 2 seasons in Tampa, and they also went to the Cup final. But he lost all of those. So, 3 years in a row, and he lost all of them. But he already won his way back when. And it's kind of a weird ending. Well, one of the weirdest endings to a career because if it's something once this comes out, because it will come out, we'll see what unforgivable conduct means.
Yeah, what is and that's where things is like. I hear unforgivable conduct. I think child pornography. Right, that is truly unforgivable.
But they said it's something that nothing to do with criminality. Well. But who knows? Who knows what exactly that is? But.
Well, they're also not, the police or prosecutors, so it is very, guys, very in the gray.
But if it's something that he was arrested for, like we would know if he had been arrested or something like that. So it probably
maybe it was an Ime Udoka kind of scene where you're doing inappropriate stuff with, someone on staff or anything like that. There's a whole plethora of things. It's just very weird when you say, it's not criminal because a lot of things that get you fired from a job has to be criminal, except for being late. Corey Perry just kind of goes and says
that, or I mean, the only other thing I could see is like he pulled a CM Punk.
Yeah, could be,
which is
thing.
relevant to this episode today. So
but
maybe
who would he be pulling it to? That's just one.
What happened?
Who would he be pulling it to? What's the attitude basis? To what owner or to what family?
I don't know. I think he might have. Because they said it wasn't something with the teammates, so I would think it would be somebody on staff, right? Like a trainer, a coach, or something or somebody in the front office, like something. I don't know.
People got to be cryptic because their lawyers type these things out. I remember a couple shows ago, Andrew was trying to talk about how somebody and allegations these are never really free thought,
right?
Someone just types out even the statements where it might not be criminal because maybe a criminal investigation has not been done yet, so you don't have to determine it. You just have your basis for firing and terminating. It's just funny because Twitter, for what it is, or X, whatever the hell he is these days, it's junk content that we live for. Trust me, I'm on it all the time. Even
right.
I don't post it. Follow us on Twitter, Charles True, FJOJR, Dan Frijoles, sports_news.
I'm just thinking, man, this is something because Corey Perry, I don't know what's gonna come out. If it's serious enough, it's gonna affect some legacy there because he was, for a time he was one of the best players in the league. He won a Hart Trophy, that's basically an MVP. Rocket Richard, he scored the most goals in the season, won the Cup, 2-time All-Star. You don't make the All-Star team a lot in the NHL. In comparison, well, nowadays you have because now there's more spaces and stuff. But back then, it was really hard to make the All-Star team. But he spent the majority of his career, more than 10 years, with Anaheim, and so that's retired number territory. And now we don't know what this is, and I don't know if you could. I have to kind of look at what he would be in comparison to other Hockey Hall of Famers, if that also affects what's going to happen. But if it's something where it was in-house politics, or I have no idea, something like that, then it probably won't affect it too much. But it's just a weird ending. He's 38 years old, so he's not long for the league anyways. But it's just a weird situation that the Blackhawks have found themselves in again, out of out of really nowhere, and most likely was brought in to mentor the team because the Blackhawks are not supposed to be good, and you got this young phenom player that might be the next big thing because Corey Perry, the same thing. He was really good when he was around that age, 22 years old and stuff. Like he was a really, really, really great hockey player. You would have wanted him on your team, but yeah, that's a weird situation. That's some of the memes were funny, but I think they'll start slowing down now because of this press conference, and we'll see what happens there. But I don't know if you've seen some of the footage, Charles. There's one in particular where Corey Perry's walking. It's the Winter Classic at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, and Corey Perry has to walk back all the way into the locker rooms, and it's like the walk of shame. And it's particularly because that game, he was thrown out of the game for a match penalty pretty much at the start. Like within like the first 5 minutes, he elbowed a guy in the head and they threw him out and he was gone. And so there's the walk of shame. He was just walking with his hockey pads and everything. It's just a long way away because they're at a football stadium. And it's one of the funnier Corey Perry meme moments out there. And people were, of course, pairing that with like received text from Connor Bedard's mom, and he's just walking out of the game. Man.
Hey, good job on that hat trick, buddy.
Yeah. But aside from that, the NHL is also having there's some fun stuff happening, Charles. There's always some fun stuff happening. The Oilers.
Violent stuff.
Well, there's always violent stuff too, but it's fun violence at times, Charles.
Stuff of the Vikings. For those who don't, well, I'm a hockey fan now, guys. For those who don't know, we ain't soft like tissue paper like the NFL.
Yeah.
We hurt people here. Tell them, Francisco.
Well, I do want to once again make highlight of the Edmonton Oilers because they still haven't figured it out. They fired their coach, and they still suck. And that's a hilarious situation, and I want that to keep being hilarious.
They have Connor McDavid.
Yeah, they're only
Look at that, guys.
Yeah, they're only 3 points ahead of the San Jose Sharks, which is saying
That's
something.
Trash.
The Sharks have a minus 54 goal differential right now, by far the worst in the league. And some teams are falling back down to earth. The Boston Bruins have. The Panthers are now within striking distance of the division lead. And Vegas Golden Knights, the same thing. They're within striking distance by Vancouver and the Los Angeles Kings. Things are, it's fun out there in Vancouver again with the team doing well. And the game yesterday between the Panthers and the Ottawa Senators, man, it's been quite a while, but the Panthers finally have a team that a lot of people just hate and other teams that just hate. And they've gone into this season, I guess, with a target on their back because they're no longer a surprise. I guess you could say they have the same edge to them from a hockey perspective as the Miami Heat do in the NBA.
Or the Sudbury Bulldogs.
Oh, the Sudbury Bulldogs, the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
And they have essentially started beef with pretty much every team that's out there. There's very few teams that don't really get into any scuffles with the Florida Panthers, and it's been a very nice change of pace for me, especially seeing a team that everybody hates, and I think last night was the culmination of that because there were, I think, 178 penalty minutes issued between the Ottawa Senators and the Florida Panthers combined. 84 of those were the Panthers. And there was a point where around 7-ish minutes left in the game at third period, the Panthers were already running away with the game. And there was a hit along the boards on the far end and behind the net, and guys just started just roughing each other up. The entire team on one side, the other team on the other side, and once the referees and the linesmen started to clear everybody out. There were, of course, penalties assessed, and the referee was just like, everybody on the ice has a 10-minute game misconduct, which basically meant that just go home, get sent to the locker rooms, and take a shower. And then you had two benches, the Senators and the Panthers benches, looking entirely empty. And it's just one of those dumb moments in hockey that's like, yes, this is what we like about the sport. This is something you don't see that in basketball, in baseball, or in football. When stuff like that happens in those sports, it's a travesty, right? That's something that's on ESPN the next day, and it suddenly becomes a whole thing. But like in baseball, you don't get bench clearing balls that are good anymore in baseball. Very few of them. Maybe you get one once a year where somebody actually throws a punch, like when Tim Anderson got cold clocked by Jose Ramirez. The NFL
baseball players don't know how to fight.
Yeah, and NBA, they don't do it anymore because of the malice at the palace. So there's very few times where there was that one time there was that one player that tried to kill LeBron for the Pistons. I think
like 2 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. That would have been fun. That would have been nice to see. Right? Just let him go at it. Let's see what happens. Let's see if LeBron can actually defend himself. And
I would never want to fight LeBron. You kidding me?
I mean, I'd like to see somebody try, and I'd like to see what he would be like in a fight. Wouldn't that be interesting to see?
I feel like his clique would just come up and like stab somebody. LeBron's like final boss level.
You on the course, sure, but even in the NHL, you'll have like Sidney Crosby's dropped the gloves, right? You usually don't have the face of your league get in trouble like that. But it'd be nice to see just something like that in baseball, right? Acuna, you want to really prove you're the MVP. Actually fight somebody. Don't start acting like pissy, whining like a fucking bitch. Those are two that I wanted to use two right there. That was.
I haven't cursed yet either.
Yeah, so like you do every single time a pitch even gets within 5 inches of you. Just.
Do you think Aaron Judge can box? Do you think he can throw hands? He's so tall, so I feel like not a lot of people could actually hit him.
Right.
So he has that advantage.
Hit him or Giancarlo. But Giancarlo would. Yeah. I mean, weak knees. So that's the hard part with Giancarlo. But I mean, at least Raul Ibanez isn't in the league anymore because he would kill somebody. Because he actually knows how to fight. He's a jiu-jitsu master.
He just retired now, but I think the guy I would not fight with, even though I make fun of him a couple times in our group chat, I would not fight Miguel Cabrera. That's fat man strength right there. And he would just like clock me. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. too. I would not. That man's got the height. The guy's got the power lifter body for a baseball player. I'm not messing with that, even though like I'm not his biggest fan. I feel like there's a part of me. I think this is a male thing, but I feel like I could fight Acuna. I can give you that, sure.
Sure. Yeah.
We could take. I don't think you could take it.
Yeah. So there you go with that. But the NHL is just kind of dumb and fun.
But let's highlight something about it because even I know because I'm a hockey fan now, guys. The Tkachuk brothers. You think Matt was just mouthing off the ass whooping one that Brady was going to get. But there'll be a little pump of Grandma Tkachuk just have a seat. But they didn't fight each other, right?
No.
That was kind of upsetting.
I don't think they would fight each other. I don't think that would be. It would have been interesting for sure, but I don't think it would have. Wouldn't have happened. I mean, his entire family was there. I'm sure they fought as brothers, but like in the brotherly sort of fashion, but not in the hockey sort of fashion. What about your brothers in arms,
Florida Panthers?
But yeah, it was fun just seeing them mouth off and everything like that. Right now hockey's fun. You're already more than a quarter into the season now. The Minnesota Wild don't know what the heck they're doing. They've already fired their coach.
Now they have Hines.
Yeah. So these just teams trying to jumpstart something, but Minnesota has not had a good start at all to this season. And I mean, there's only so much that you can blame the coaching for that. And
which is very similar to the NFL with certain changing. Look at that. It's all connected. The GOOFS versus merging.
Yeah. And the thing is with NHL coaches, they don't. Gosh, there's not much they. It's hard to get them to at least 5 seasons. You
Hmm.
rarely even see that. Usually after the around 4 or 5 seasons, it's I don't know, for whatever reason you need a new voice in the locker room, things like that. Even guys that just won the Stanley Cup don't last that long with their teams. You don't really see the longevity amongst NHL teams, but it's always the same guys that they're getting hired and rehired. So once you become a head coach, you instantly are in the running for that coaching carousel. So
Can I tell you what trips me up
that's the
about the
beauty of it.
coaching? Is that it seems as if they don't do interims and then wait till the next offseason. They just hire guys and contract out for a period of time because
With
that's what they did with Hines in Minnesota. And I think they did that with Bruce
you,
Boudreau's
I
successor
mean,
too.
yeah, and John Cooper he was their AHL coach, and they're just like, all right, let's just bring you up, and you'll be the
There
head
must
coach
be
now.
like no guaranteed contracts the way it is for the NFL.
Not like no, not really. NHL coaches are pretty much. I mean, they do get bought out for certain things. I mean, like Gerard Gallant, like he was bought out. Obviously, they fired him. Just like, you know what, screw it, you're gone. But aside from that, yeah, I don't really. Um, yeah, NHL coaches are pretty much interchangeable at some points with a lot of teams. They're just like, you know what, screw it. Well, let's Carl Darrow Sutter up again and see what happens. Let's get Torts in here. Maybe he'll be the one, right? You'll get the same names over and over again. So we'll see with Minnesota, see if that jumpstarts their season because it hasn't worked in Edmonton, but they'll try it for themselves. And the Washington Capitals are having a historically bad season on the power play. They've only converted about, I think the number is like 2% of their power plays thus far this season.
Jesus.
So on the man advantage, Washington is not doing well at all. I don't know what the heck is going on. I haven't really been paying attention to them. I know it's been a slow start for them and for Ovi, but I mean Ovechkin's up there in age now, and they're just gonna ride that out until he breaks that record so they can sell tickets. I think that's what's happening in Washington. But the worst ever power play, I think, was the Anaheim Ducks a few seasons ago. Now they had like 5% or something like that, something that low where they were just not very good at it. But that was a very young team that was trying to figure things out, whereas this Capitals team is an older team that I guess that doesn't have the ability to figure things out anymore. I'm not sure, but it's really bad. It's one of the highlights there. The other thing is Patrick Kane finally chose a team. He's been sitting there in free agency, waiting to see where he's gonna, I guess, end his career. I'm not sure. I think he's got a few seasons in him.
It's a
But
1 year
he's
deal.
becoming a mercenary now at this point. But it's a prorated 1 year deal with the Detroit Red Wings, and the Red Wings are having a nice start to their season. I think they're finally putting together the Iser plan. And Patrick Kane going in is at I think one season I think he's going to get paid $2 million ish.
Mhm.
That's not too bad. The Red Wings have a ton of cap space, which is going to be really good for them come trade deadline. And they're building something. They're building something right now, and I don't like it, Charles. I don't like it. I don't like
You
that.
don't need to come back to being prominent again.
Yeah, no, we don't really need that right now. I think the Panthers are 2 points ahead of them, and they've already beaten them once. But yeah, it's a dynamic to them. That's definitely a scoring touch for Detroit, and yeah, looking good. Nikita Kucherov for Tampa Bay and get Aaron, freaking Andrew his flowers, and he's having another career season in a career that's already really really good, and he's really good this season.
But the Lightning suck right now, from what I checked.
No, they're 3 points ahead. They're right there. They're at the point where I think I would have had them. A lot of people have them missing the playoffs, but I think they're good enough to get one of those wild card spots. They're not too far back. They're only 2 points behind the Panthers. 6 points behind Boston. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's all still fairly close between all those teams, up to Toronto. Ottawa is not doing well at all. So that's what the funny thing was yesterday. It was just a team that just nothing's going right for them right now. And they took out all of their frustrations on the Panthers, who were just spanking them across the ice. And the New York Rangers are good. So I recommended them to you, and you have shown me some screenshots of you being good with the New York Rangers.
And the Minnesota Wild. Oh, no, Dallas Star.
The
That was
Dallas,
the other team I was.
you can play the Wild if you want to see what a bad team is like.
Well, so now we finished week 1. I'm ready to lay to rest.
Play as the Edmonton Oilers and the Minnesota Wild.
All right,
and see if you can figure it out.
I've learned some names. Unfortunately, I don't know the first full names of everybody. I know the Rangers. I've always knew Trocheck, so that was fine.
Yeah, but he was on the Panthers for a lot of seasons.
Ziberjane, I cannot say that correctly. Zibanejad. Mm-hmm. So I had Zibanejad, Trocheck, Krills or Strills, Erickson or something like that coming into it from the Rangers with Dallas, Duchesne.
Okay, yeah.
Merchant.
Mason Marchment.
Ben.
Yes. Their captain, yes.
Yeah, Ben. I learned so.
The goalies, do you know the goalies? Those are the two most important ones. I gave you two of the best ones in the league.
Actually, no. And can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because NHL doesn't have you opt to turn into your goalie during the entire play unless you go goalie thing. So it's going to have to really be through osmosis. And I'm sure it is. But the problem is I learned the mechanics of how to succeed and score too quickly. So the goalies meant nothing to me if I was up like 7-1. And that's because the thing is, to me, I play hockey the way I play basketball. In the video game structure, it's not hard. Pass the puck along, find the open guy, take aggressive shots to the rim or to the net. Basically, what's my basketball style? That drive as a point guard, try to see if there's anybody that's open, to the three or to the baseline shots, or just get a center to kind of bully it out. So that's why it kind of disappears. So I'm going to up the difficulty. So the idea is that maybe I can learn their Truba. I also know Truba from the Rangers. I was like, oh, that's a cool name, Tuba Truba. I make nicknames in my head. It's been a fun time for Casa Charles as he's just trying to.
He just got suspended, by the way. Or
no, he
didn't get suspended. He got fined. I think it was just a fine. Sorry, but it was a hefty fine. It was like $5,000-ish. But for the stick across the head of Frederick out in Boston, not out in Boston, it was in New York, but against Boston, and he didn't try to hit him across the head. I feel like it was not malice intent. It was still malicious because you still got to be able to control your stick, all right, man? But
Corey Perry.
Yeah. Oh, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But that was just like he unfortunately, I guess, tried to untangle his stick and just whacked him across the head with it. And it was like, okay, well then. So there you go. I think that was the right call. Ottawa. As much as a lot of people would be like, "Oh, you should have suspended him for like 20 games." Like that never happens. So
yeah, it's a physical sport, and I did learn some other players. It seems like I played against Ottawa, so that's how I learned that Brady Tkachuk was on there. I think I even know how to say and spell the names right these days. And then I forgot some of the other people I played. It's been an interesting experience. So you're saying Minnesota Wild and Edmonton Oilers?
Yeah, see if you can figure out why they suck, or if you can figure out how to fix them.
And I'll do that on up difficulty, which will be interesting. Yeah, the game itself. I'm going to transition here a little bit. It's still hockey related. It's a sports show, everybody. We're our gaming show. It's familiar. I'm on the total stick control. You own it too. Andrew is probably going to break under peer pressure and get it, which makes me laugh because I win. It's a lot of fun. It has some of the best commentary I've had in a sports game in a bit. It's up there with NBA.
Okay.
Madden's commentary is like trash. That's the same rinse and repeat. The game mechanics are good. I don't think I like the fact that I can't control my goalie if I want to play as either my, wings or defenders. You know what I mean? That's kind of annoying if you've had that issue. And I understand I can do total goalie control.
I mean, you're doing the deep dive better than I am right now because I
have invested like 8 hours.
I've been playing
because I've been just trying to avoid my feelings of playing a single player game and choosing. even with these pseudo fantastic headphones I got.
Mm. Yeah,
But
I
it's something.
haven't gotten into it deeply just yet. I've only played. Hold on, let me check. I've 8 hours. I'm at as
About
far
the same.
as
Yeah.
yeah, but I've had it a month longer than you have, and yet
Hmm.
I'm still not really into it right now. And but we'll see. I think I'll try and figure out some of the stuff with the controls and the sliders and whatever to adjust the game to how I want it. But right now I'm just playing it in a very dumb way as well because I'm just trying to get myself traded from the Tampa Bay Lightning right now in my creator player.
You're
That's
trying to be the Eli Manning of hockey.
yeah,
And what
but
was the other name that we said?
they won't release me. I'm trying as far like I'm legitimately trying to sabotage games. And they're like the coach is like the dumb thing with like the creative player mode when they have like the storylines you got to pick a line of dialogue or something like that. A coach would come up to you after
Yeah.
the game and he would literally point at me and be like, I had no issues with the way you played today. I'm like, I literally almost would try and put the puck in my own net every single time.
Jesus.
And just the game
You're
isn't
really going pure chaos right there.
exactly. I just want them to release me. They've got this like social media meter where you can make yourself more of a me guy instead of a team guy. So there's that, and I'm trying to do that. It's all there. But if not, I'll just restart and see if I get drafted to some other team that I don't really have an issue with. um, all right. Well, that's the NHL stuff. As far as gaming is concerned, you're on that right now, Charles. That's your thing. But
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're hitting into that fine. I have some vacation time coming up,
hmm,
and that would be some gaming that I will try to utilize. The problem is that you get kind of burned out. So NHL, because it's new, because it's something that's ongoing. It's what 30 teams I have to learn
32.
essentially, 32 that I have to learn. I get to listen to
Hmm.
music. It's easier just to come home, play my hour because right now I don't. I have it like 7 minute periods, and it'll
Yeah,
increase,
yeah.
sure. 7 minute periods. I think it's fair. It's about 25 minutes in total of each game, so it's not terrible.
Hmm.
I'll increase it as it goes, as the difficulty goes on, unless I get walloped. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, what we're gonna see, but it can be exciting. It's the same way how you got into NBA. I'm sure it's the same way. Think about it this way: it's the same way of how you got into the show, because
Yeah.
there's oodles of things and learning mechanics. And for someone who doesn't know as much about hockey, me who knows essentially four teams at best: Panthers, Lightning, Bruins, and by like osmosis, some of hold on, I'm just trying to do this real quick. Some of I would say the Canadian teams, but like in an amalgamation
Yeah.
of your hatred with the Oilers and the Ottawa Senators, the Winnipeg Jets. I could name you anybody on the Jets, so I can name you people on those things, and then just
Yeah,
whatever's out
Toronto.
there.
Yeah.
Toronto, yeah, because that's usually who you guys pick on. I didn't know anybody. Like I had to Google who the cover athlete of this current one was. I'm like, it's
Kale
defense.
McCarr, who's having a
Yeah.
fantastic season thus far, and
Well,
yeah,
case in point. And I didn't know. So there's an excitement to it, to a degree. Oh, I scored a goal. But yeah, that's what we got going on for gaming for that. But something's gonna happen. We might have the Alan Wake 2 party together once you do American Nightmare. Depending on this MRI and if I need surgery or if I have to take time off. Your boy is busted, guys. It's not terrible. I think it's just a small tear. I might have to be really not doing some stuff. So that's where a lot of gaming come in. I can do Pokemon with this headphones I got. We'll talk about that. So I get Mario Wonder, or I can start Sparks of Hope. I think I actually might do that because December's right here. We always do a Mario December game. But there's some choices. I did buy some games on Black Friday, Francisco.
yeah, that's what I was trying to lead us into.
Oh, sorry.
How's the hunt going right now?
The hunt is done, and now my watch has ended, and now I can rest. That's the mindset. We have finally killed that monster that was Best Buy gift cards, and it wasn't even the sexiest Black Friday, but the game's evolved, guys. It's no longer where you're going to be getting doorbusters and video games for like $20. and all this other stuff. But that's okay because as long as you're not using your money, and I'm not advocating for stealing anybody's money, but as long as you're not using your money, everything is a win. So I had like 100, and I messed up. This is the old age. I was sitting on Best Buy gift cards for so long, I forgot I had already used like an gift card. Right, so that's the funny part. So I was actually working with like 130, not 160 or 175 as I expected. No problem, because I bought games in duration the last several months are on sale. Dead Space remake, the Hogwarts Legacy game, so on and so forth, yada yada yada. But I only had to buy. I only got like 4 games out, so I didn't have to go too far. NHL counted as one of them because they were on sale for Amazon pre Black Friday, so I'm
Hmm.
counting it. I got for like the equivalent of $7 on a credit card for the points right after I used some Discover stuff. I got, and then Best Buy was my main tool because I don't want to use the GameStop gift card. I really have a goal, a vision, an understanding of what I need to do come assumingly November 2024 or
Hmm.
March 2025. That's the predictions I would have when Switch 2 comes out. And truthfully, by that time, I will have the money. It is going to be there. I promise you that. Or I'll have the trade in for a free Switch 2 with probably a free accessory that comes with it, right? The
Hmm.
maniacalness. I'm a mad villain. But we ended up getting Kirby Return Dreamland for $30. I like Kirby enough. I like Forbidden Lands. $30 is fine for any Kirby game. This would be like the third or fourth Kirby game I played because I had Star Allies, which was fun, super easy. I like Forbidden Lands a lot, and you said good things about Return to Dreamland. So whether I do it myself or co-op, we're good. I picked up Final Fantasy 16 for 40, half off.
Okay.
Mostly because I have
Interesting.
2 friends who are like, "No, you gotta play it. It's the best game ever." And I'm like, "Fine, you know what?
Really?
I will always." Well, for them, I take that. Everything's so subjective, but the reviews were decent. I expected to be an 8. I know it's a little bit long on the 2 for some people. I have never really played a Final Fantasy game either, but the PlayStation 5 can offer some of those graphics. I know it's a little bit long, like 50 hours. However, the whole thing is that when I look at some of these Black Friday games, I'm like, all right, am I have no problem getting a game that is supposedly supposed to be one of the better ones if it's on the cheap, right? Because that's the appreciation. Or I like to try games that I would never contemplate before, and then I just got it for cheap, right? But that I was gonna go for Wild Hearts, but I didn't. I didn't. The the developer for that's produced by EA, they're not they're not supporting it anymore in development. Doesn't mean it's getting delisted, but it makes me feel like it's gonna be a free PS Plus game soon
Hmm.
in like a year or so. So I'm like, well, let me just keep the 20. That's my mindset. So we got Final Fantasy 16. So let's hope. Let's see if it's actually good, past like an average 8 or something because I heard a lot of stuff. And then we picked up Jedi Survivor for it was on sale for 35. Gift card was nothing, and that works for me. I played Fallen Order. I wasn't great. It was fine. It was like a 7.5, 7, but there were some stylistic things about it that I was like, eh. But I heard Survivor was a lot better. And if you're giving me kind of like a Souls like Star Wars, I can get behind it. I like Star Wars enough. So we'll develop into it. But what the problem was is that there were just not a lot of sexy games out there. And I sent you that link where Nintendo never does anything super sexy because a lot of stuff that they have on sale is what we have.
Yeah.
And I have played those top games. I didn't wait for Spider Man. I don't do the Call of Duty stuff because it's really you think the sports game guys are rinse and repeat. It's really those. But I was overall satisfied. To come away with 4 or 5 games is going to be good enough to kind of lead me to the backlog, but also give me
Oh
enough to
my
try out
goodness
new
gracious.
stuff.
Sam Benton is beating the crap out of somebody right now
Oh, I'm
on the
seeing
lead.
that. You
Oh
see,
boy.
they're seeing that it's okay. They're
Oh
like, all right,
then.
We
Oh, Max
saw
Domi. There we go.
what is that? Rangers? I can't
Max
see from the
Domi is the
texture.
son of Ty Domi, who was a enforcer back in the days,
Hmm.
who also played for the Leafs. So now I have to find a tweet of Peter Worrell of the Panthers beating the crap out of his father.
Jesus.
All right, go
Uh,
ahead, Charles.
oh, but so the thing is, the purchases were enough to kind of expand the backlog, but not damage the backlog to where we're going to be a year from now. Because I don't know of any big PS5 games coming out. There's a couple Switch games that are coming out soon that I'll be getting for the holidays or with other gift cards. I do have a dilemma though. I have a $20 issuance of a gift certificate that'll come from Best Buy that will probably be used by the end of January that expires. That I have to use on the game, so I'm actually have to shell out real cash. So it's a damned if you do. But what's great is Best Buy is doing like a 20-day deal of video games. So like today was Mario Sparks of Hope, which I already have. but it might fall into sequence where the universe benefits me. But it's gonna be kind of weird. I know we'll go on the credit card for the points because that's how you have to play the game. But it's kind of weird, man. I'm one of the poors again. I'm one of you. I'll never shill at 40, 50, but I have to kind of be like, we hold at 35. 30 is always a good go to. It's weird. How do you survive this? I feel naked. I feel exposed. I feel like a knight without a sword and a shield.
Well, I mean, the good thing right now is that you don't. I mean, there's nothing out there for now aside from Alan Wake 2 that's on your horizon now, right? I think you've got.
And it's guaranteed. Like I have the eShop money, and I have also the PSN money. So Metroid Prime Remastered's probably happened, but now it's at my leisure. Damn Nintendo.
Yeah, so you've planned out ahead, and once again we're trying to make it to well, as far as my Switch library, I'm trying to make it out to the Switch 2, but I've got everything sizable now. Now the plan is to really knock out that true backlog at this point. That's my whole thing. I'm trying to. You keep sending me the sales, and yes, the PC is very dangerous right now, Charles. Right now, I got a free game. I got three free games over the last few days. One of them was like Ramp or something. It's like a 30-minute little. It looks like Tony Hawk when it was like on the Game Boy type of thing. So that's whatever. But it's on Fanatical, and the only reason they did that, of course, to get you into their store and be like, oh, here you can have this for free. Also, you get a nice little coupon here for like 10% off, and we've got all these sales going on. And it's like, no, this is dangerous. The same thing happens with that. Ubisoft gave out Assassin's Creed, and they're also like, hey, we got also these sales that's going on right now for if you like Assassin's Creed, which I have a bunch of those games, and yet I haven't started any single one of them. I got like 5 of those Assassin's Creed games right now.
I was looking into Mirage, but it was only like 10, 15 bucks. I'll tell you now, side note, the shout out, HSN, the Home Shopping Network, and QVC, we're doing some interesting codes, so you can look into it for some of the Switch stuff.
Yeah.
I think there was something like 20 bucks off. Things are 40. So it was I was looking at Mario RPG for 40 bucks. Not for me, but for you, it's good until December. So you already got Wonder. But if you want to, you see, you're kind of like my other buddy, where they just bought all the main games that came out, so there's nothing lacking. But I don't know, it's a good deal. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and then I got Half-Life, which we talked about a little bit last week.
You have a picture of Gabe Newell in your wallet. You effing nerd.
Yeah, exactly. Lord Gaben, and I almost done with the game. I'm at the home stretch. I'm like, one more sit down and I'll probably be done with it. So we're there. And of course, Steam has, you can get the rest of the Half-Life collection for like $5. You get that.
I sent you that one.
If you have you can get a Steam Index and play Half-Life Alyx and do the VR thing. I'm like, it's on sale. It's only $20 now. I'm like, you just need to buy the Steam Index. I'm like, they know I've been circling my search history right now with researching VR headsets. As much as you say, there's no game, me, Charles. I like the experimental stuff too, and I bought an e-reader for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance when it was like I'm a sucker for this stuff. I am, and the fact that I haven't gotten a VR headset is a huge set of willpower for me, because I would have bought one a while ago. I'm on Best Buy right now. And I kind of want to see what they've got going on with the VR headsets.
I don't know what's supposed to be the best one. The only one I know of is like the Oculus, and that's it.
Well, that's the Quest or whatever. But that's like I guess that's the most mainstream one that's out there. But there's other companies. I think HP's got one that I've heard is a pretty good one. I heard the Steam one is all right, but it's more like it has some premium stuff to it. Like they said, like the audio quality on it is premium. But the rest of the stuff you could find, as far as that is concerned, like you could find better deals with other hardware out there. So I don't know. So I'm gonna let's go down this rabbit hole a little.
Let's do it.
because it's something that eventually we'll have to probably look at. I mean, the PlayStation VR. I don't know if you've ever had like if it's intrigued you at any point. You've
No,
tried it out, right?
I've done the one, either the Oculus or another one that my buddy had, and we played
Okay.
Phasmophobia, and you're moving around with it. But I felt like I was gonna punch somebody in the face, and so I want you guys to understand something. I drink on a Friday night for video games. I'm just putting that right now. It's not that
Hmm.
I drink heavily and it's bad. One, your boy drinks a good quality. I'm actually trying to be good for like until Christmas time, because the 4 days off that I had were just fantastic. And Thanksgiving, you know, I gave thanks to people's liver for bringing the good quality stuff. That's all I'm saying. But could you imagine me two drinks in, listen to my sad boy music or my rap, depending what we're coming into it, and I'm just like trying to like karate chop something in Resident Evil 4. I'll break Ramona.
Yeah.
I have that inherent fear.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it's interesting. But I think it's because I've seen what high definition looks like, that I want that same thing. When I say high definition, I'm talking about like 4K OLED. That I want that same kind of game design in
Hmm.
DVR headset, which is not this. It's not going to work. If it did work, it'd probably be a lot more expensive at $349.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's 1-1 now between the Leafs and the Panthers. Woof. But we have our backup goalie in, so that's how unimportant we think you are, Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, right now, so this is what Best Buy has. I'm listing them by best selling, so But the Meta 2, the Quest 2
Is that the
is
Facebook one?
that's the Facebook one, whatever. It's
Uh-uh.
that one's 128 gig is 250, and a 256 gig is 300. But the new one, the 3 that came out, 128 gigs is 500 right now, and the 512 is 650. So that's the 3 of those. And I'm trying to look at reviews for the 3, right? Because one of the things that I think people are trying to look at is, how does this, like, do I have to set up the stuff in my living room with the corners and stuff, or is it just like an internal thing, which is the thing that I would want. I don't want to be setting stuff up and having to nail stuff to the
Yeah,
wall
yeah.
with the
I
sensors or
just
what
want to
have
hold the
you.
handles and that's it.
Exactly. And with this one, you don't need the PC. It has a hookup so you can have the PC on there, but the thing is on it is the actual headset itself. So all the VR stuff is in there with the memory and everything like that. And that's always a nice thing. But of course, if I was doing it where I'm living at, of course I'd want to be able to use my PC and just have that powering everything, and then I can deal with it. But of course, you have a cord that you're attached to, so that's the downside to that. But I also, if I bought this, I'd like to, bring it around, bring it to my sister's place, show the kids. Like, I'm sure that would be like a fun thing to do. Um, so I guess that's with that one. They have the Quest Pro, which I don't know what exactly this is supposed to be, because that one's $1,000.
It's probably higher rendition.
So
Rendition.
let me see this one. I just want to see it. So this one's $1,000, and we're at 55 minutes, so we're almost at the 1 hour. This one's $1,000, but uh, you know, it has 256 gigabytes itself. But I don't know what exactly is making this stand out from the other one, where it's like, well, the 3 is this, and I don't know if this is for more use on the
I mean,
PC only.
I'll have to deep dive in it for you.
Yeah, because a lot of these things with the is the screen quality inside too, because
Hmm.
you need a higher resolution than you would get even with a TV, because you're trying to simulate reality, and if you start seeing pixels, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. So that was always the thing that I was concerned with too, is like, and how far does it go with your peripheral vision, and how far does the screen stretch on the inside, comfortability, how heavy is it, so you're not like ending it and then your neck starts to hurt and things like that. All that
Mm-hmm.
Best Buy has is the Meta, as far as I'm seeing, like, or the HTC Vive. That's the other one. That one's $1,000 too. And that's the thing that turns me off with some of these. I'm like, $1,000. I don't know. I don't think that would entice me. And even in my own library, I'm not getting free VR games. I'm just getting free regular PC games, and maybe some of them have mods that you
So
can.
which one's the 1,000? I'm on my Best Buy app because I have to deep dive this.
There's the HTC Vive.
But what was the one that was a grand?
Oh, that one's sold. The other one was the Meta Quest Pro or whatever. And I mean, it looks, it's black, it's whatever. But even then, I think I would want to get like the 3 because, like, I would assume that one has better specs or what have you than the other one, but I'm not sure. And I know HP has one called like I forgot what it's called. Gosh darn it!
I mean,
But I guess Best Buy doesn't work with them.
yeah. I mean, I think it's wireless completely,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's some other aspects of it, and that's a better lens and all like jazz.
Okay. That's probably it. Probably has a better, higher resolution inside than the other one, because the other one's made to be mainstream. But like $500, I'd have to see. Especially like next year. Next year, I'm gonna buy one big thing, and I know it'll be the next Switch. That's kind of where I'm at. But as far as the VR stuff, I've been sitting on it for years now. My PC was advertised as VR ready, right? So it's always had the capability of doing so. I just never have gotten to it. But it still entices me. Even my dad is like, "Have you checked out that VR stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know if it's time or what have you or anything like that." So I'll see. I know that Meta is the starter VR thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if that's still not enticing me to make the dive, and I'm like, maybe another year. We'll wait another year. We'll
Yeah,
see.
you're basically like me for Mona, I think, where I was just
Yeah,
waiting for the right chance.
exactly. Because even now, like the 2 is still available, and it's $250. And
You can't when you're upgrading for the first time. You can't go on backwards technology. That's my logic with the phone. After 6.5 years, that's my logic with the TV. You just have to save up your nickels and dimes, bud, and just get the real good one when it comes out.
I mean, yeah, because like the 3 looks enticing, 128 gigabytes. That's like 1, maybe 2, depending on how they compress the games. But I would say you get like 1, 2, 3 games, maybe, depending on what you get.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll see. I'm not there yet, but I feel like I'm gonna be soon. I'm gonna be within like the next year and a half or something. Like I'll finally make the dive and be like, all right, it's time, Charles. It's time for me to break all my stuff. Well, we're at 1 hour, so I think that's good enough for us. So it's a word from our non-sponsors, people, places, things, concepts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the last week. So what have you been enjoying, Charles, aside from hunting deals?
Too much, and I will sponsor because I think it's fair now to sponsor it because nothing's perfect, but sometimes I have to be perfect when I am needed to be on this show talking my nonsense about Corey Perry and Connor Bedar's mom, or give you the wrestling insight, or try to sell you how I'm a new hockey fan, or trying to talk to you about, my petty train as Choo Choo Charlie, Conductor Charlie, going with my hatred for Aaron Rodgers because he's just mid of the line. So, or if I'm playing Madden or playing games with other people. So I was in need for a new headset. Like everything I do, I'm patient. I patiently wait. The last headset was fine. My M Pals I got for like $25 4 or 5 years ago. I think I did non-sponsor on them. They were needed. They were wired. They were fine, but the material was breaking. I was breaking up a little bit sound wise, so I texted my good old buddy Houdini, my tech guy, essentially. I said, all right, I'm looking at the Pulse 3D audio from Best Buy. Should I get it? He's like, nah, don't get that. Guess this. So he sends me, a year ago, he sent me the Steel Series Arctis Nova, Pro 7P, whatever it's called, right? So I'm looking, I'm gauging, I'm figuring out, and I've been looking. I was looking at the direct website because I know GameStop had it, Best Buy had it. This thing was going like $180, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it's in between, but there were some highlights to it that I was looking for, like 30 plus hour battery life, Bluetooth, the ability to connect to the PS5, the Switch, your laptop,
Which one
maybe
is
your
it?
phone. I have it. So I have the Arctis Nova 7P wireless.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, where am I going to get this? And this is one of those things. When it comes to games, I have to be cheap. When it comes to like actual accessories, I really don't care about the price. Maybe like controllers I want on cheap, but the jobbers I just bought them because I wanted them. These I bought them on, but I did get them on sale because I was at the Steel Series website. I'm literally doing my morning constitution, looking through, trying to game plan, and I saw 30% off. I'm like, this you guys don't realize when you're in the 100 200 range on some of these prices, 30% off is a lot of money being saved. And I was like, no way, they're not gonna do this themselves. I would have to go to Best Buy. I would have to go to GameStop. I would have to go whatever. And lo and behold, they write it there. And it's literally on a Sunday morning. I'm like, yes. So I got it for what it was 180 for a grand total of $125. You add on tax and whatever that stuff. So it was like 135. And there has not been a sale that was lower. Best Buy tried it yesterday on Cyber Monday for 135. I still saved them cheaper. And there's some highlights to it. It has a retractable mic, so I can place it back in. It's a
Mm-hmm.
bendy mic, so I don't have to worry about anything getting chipped off. It has like I think airsoft earmuffs, so it's not
Yeah.
that cheap Velcro, so you don't have to worry about the wear and tear. It has a long battery life. It has a USB-C dongle that's just plugged into my PlayStation right now. The battery life was really interesting. How the nitrous
38
film.
hours. Wow.
They say allegedly, real reality, it's like probably 30 hours, which is good enough for me. It is bi-directional noise canceling with the microphone. They say 30 hours with the Bluetooth could be like 26 hours. They say if you need a quick charge for 6 hours, use a 15-minute charge, which I am not in need like that. I have this for the podcast and for my gaming, and then I have the Jabras for my gym. And if I had to do Zoom calls or anything like that, I would still utilize that. The range is 40 feet, low latency 2.4 gigahertz, which is good, so there's no interference. What I think is the coolest thing about it, so they have dials. Left side controls the volume, like the right side should control the volume. So I don't know if you could hear me, if I'm going lower or higher on one end, and then the other one's called side tone, so I can lower your stuff. But I like the dual audio. So as I was playing with Francisco earlier,
Mm.
I can literally talk to you guys. I can hear Francisco talk, but I can listen to music if I want to, or I can play the audio through my headphones of the video games I'm playing at the same time. And that can be helpful if I'm going to do my late night gaming, not to disturb any human being known to mankind, as I'm swinging through New York as Spider Man for a replay through just to feel what nostalgia feels like. So I think that's cool. My one complaint with it, and I don't know if it's just how I am today or not, is just I haven't found the perfect comfy position yet for the placement on my head.
Mm.
It has like a little in between structure, like it has the beam, and the other one I have like I guess a small head, which makes no sense because you see my hair slicked back. It's poofy, but yeah, I'm adjusting. But I also tend to have a bad neck as it is, but it's not painful. It is light in the ears. It doesn't make it feel hot. You feel the cupping onto it. I think the only thing I would say is up until now, sometimes I can hear myself breathe, but it is kind of like sound direction. But last couple of nights, I've exclusively been playing with it and music. So there was something great last night and the other day of playing hockey as the Rangers and listening to Andre 3000's new Blue Sun album, which is, entirely like, flute. So it's pretty cool. I think it's worth the investment. I got lucky. I got it on sale because their Black Friday sale wasn't as great as when I got. So literally, like, so Steel Series, Arctis, I pronounce it probably, Arctis Nova 7P wireless. It does the Tempest audio or the 3D audio that Sony has. It's made for it. It's gotten good reviews, long battery lifespan. The Pulse 3D that I was looking into from Sony only lasts like 12 hours for a headset, man. So I thought that was like, you pay for quality. That's the whole thing. Like that's my whole basic job. So I've been I've been about it so far, and I will engage with it, and I think it's gonna be perfect for my future gaming because if I connect to it with the Switch, right, Pokemon, I could just play Pokemon, listen to a little background music, and listen to my own stuff in the
Mm.
process. So it's going to be interesting. And then like you're the live streamer. You're my first person I'm talking to in chat, aside from Tony and Heather when we were doing wrestling, and they're not for the show. So how does my audio quality sound speaking to you? Sound more clear? Sound better? No
Well,
issue?
I
No
mean,
hurricane wrestling?
yeah. I mean, you still. I think you sound still about the same that you sounded with the other one. There's no fuzziness anymore. There's no whatever. I
With
mean,
Well, the
no
fuzziness matters,
static.
right? Because
Yeah.
I can't control that
Mm-hmm.
when that's the thing when it was wired. If I try to roll around, move around, or if I got to go answer my phone, I can just walk to my corner as my phone's charging for work, whereas I don't have to. Because we'll keep the fuzzy one, sure. You never get rid of anything unless it's broke, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the quality of the sound, we're not looking for anything that was going to be clear for the microphone. Like if we did, we would have bought podcast microphones. But this is for consistency of the
Mm-hmm.
show,
Yeah.
just not that any first. Because remember, I've never tried it before, so that's always kind of scary when you're trying that new tech. But you trust the people that you have, and I deep dive review these things. It was with the Jopper, it was with my laptops, with Ramona, with this. So I have enjoyed it so far. It's gonna get a lot of use from me because as I venture into doing single player games and I don't have the ADHD, always have to check my phone because I got a new phone. I was almost tempted to do my phone man, but I feel like I would truly be selling out if I did Apple. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like a typical bro. But you guys got to realize I've had the same phone for 6.5 years. We're not even we just crossed like what almost a full week now of
Yeah.
having my phone, maybe like 6 7 days. So there's everything is amazing when you can do 4K OLED or whatever. The OLED screen, I think that's what they have for the iPhone. Is kind
Yeah.
of amazing because I was watching Bleach on. I was like, oh man, it comes into it, and half the other stuff's just the apps. The battery is really what I was looking for, and the clarity of the photos. The photos are great. We'll say to that. So there we go. But I think I went for something that was more out of something that was going to benefit other aspects. So I think with the headphones is we're going to do Hogwarts Legacy or Alan Wake 2 or anything like that. Alan Wake 2 I think might actually get the Ramona sound, but maybe not as we're in a horror element. Just imagine playing that, listening to it. So I'm excited. I've put in about 4 or 5 hours of it so far, not including today. So Arctis Steel Series, Arctis Nova 7P wireless. Get you some promo code. Promo
Mm-hmm.
code. Let's see. Promo code dual. Sad boy music. That's what we're
Sad
keeping
boy
it.
music. Yeah.
Sad boy music.
Okay. Well, I think I know where I'm going with mine. So it was Thanksgiving, of course, Charles. So I was back at home in West Palm Beach, hanging out with the family, hanging out with the kids, of course. And I felt like, yeah, well, maybe we can finally do something that they can try out and everything like that. And so I I pulled out a little something that definitely helped the family and I keep connected during the pandemic, and now I think it's also something that helped me out during this past week. It's I'm gonna go with the Jackbox party games.
Oh, those were fun.
So I bought a few of these, of course, during the lockdown. I would broadcast it, and so I could play with my dad and my sister and my brother-in-law and my mom, and it just kept us connected through that time period. And you know that was one of the cool things about this. Of course, you could play with people online if you want to. I think it's like if you go on Twitch, and I'm sure there's some people that have some nice followings and they do this like every day or like once a week or something like that. But it's not as much as it used to be as far as trying to hop into a game or anything like that. But it's still good fun for lots of people. It's easy to get into. You just need a phone or a tablet, and so you don't have to do anything with a game controller. It's not as intimidating to the casuals out there. And they've got different party packs with different games here, and just was able to play this with my niece and my nephew. Finally, my niece, she's still too young, right? She's 5 years old. She's
You just give her a second controller and act like she's doing something.
well, it's like, well, I mean, she has a tablet, so we just like, you know what, here, you do this, and you do what you want with that. Of course, there's plenty of games that you can draw in, right? So that's fun. That's fun for a kid, especially that you see that the thing that you just draw up there on the big screen, right? So that's always fun. The same thing with my nephew. He's older. He's 8 years old, so he's starting to get stuff, get some of these concepts, gets what's going on. There's a lot of family friendly games, and they'll actually tell you which ones are good to play with the kids, because some games are not good to play with the kids. A lot of them are very adult oriented. But just some highlights, especially. You have Patently Stupid, which is about you trying to present an invention for a problem. So you get to draw a little something, and then you have to actually present it to people. So it's fun. It's fun to kind of be up there pretending like you're at a conference at a Holiday Inn in Spokane, Washington, or something like that, and trying to sell people on your weird product. So that's fun. What I think the favorite amongst all of us is Gaspionage, which is like basically a survey game where they surveyed people about certain topics, and you have to guess what percentage people what percentage of people keep the water running while you're brushing your teeth, right? And so you try and find the percentage to see how close you can get to the actual answer, and then the people that are with you, they can try and guess whether it's higher or lower than that prediction. So that's a really fun one. They have some like single player ish ones, or like challenge mode ones where like Zeeple Dome is basically you're just fling this character across the thing, and we actually beat that game, me and my nephew and my niece. So that worked out. And there's some cool like Trivia Murder Party is always a favorite amongst us too, because it's just trivia questions but with a serial killer aspect to it. So
Is that the one where, if you keep answering correctly, you advance, but if you don't, you fall behind?
at the end,
Yeah,
there's a
I played
final
it.
round where if you don't answer correctly enough, you'll be taken in and the guy will kill you. So it's just about escaping the house. So that's fun. But these are all just fun. You can play them with people. You can play them with other people, an audience if you feel like, if you want to be a streamer and everything like that. Goofs 2.0, I don't know, and just a good time. So promo code a good time. Okay. All right, Charles, we're at hour 14. I don't know what's going on with the rest of the nights as far as sports is concerned. I don't know what's going on with the Heat game. I know it's 1-1 between the Leafs and the Panthers. But I don't know. We'll see it on the score thing there. I don't know. What do you want to talk about? We're at hour 14. Is there anything that jumps out at you? Like basketball is basketball. Whatever.
Basketball's basketball, Triple J. That's the only thing I'll say about the Heat. It'll be very short, as we talked about last week. Triple J, Heat kind of were already hit with the injuries again, right? So people
Yeah.
are coming in and out. That's it. But I'm
The
kind of
in-season
impressed
tournament
by.
doesn't really matter, because if it actually did matter, Jimmy would be playing through pain.
We have Dave Miller playing against the Heat tonight. Fuck you, Joe Cronin.
Heat are up
Great.
62-59 halftime. There we go.
Yeah, suck it. Just it's never enough. I will never let it go. But we didn't trade everything away. Tyler Hero is supposed to be coming back soon. That's good. Basketball, I really haven't been paying much attention. I forgot that Monty Williams is coaching the Pistons, and they're god awful. They're getting there on like Charlotte Bobcats level, and it's really interesting. For he suffered some stuff for Phoenix. I think there was a cause to keep him, and I think there was a cause to dismiss him. Right. That's how I'll say things. But when you go on a completely talentless team, all coaching in the world can't help you. I really got nothing else on basketball. It's
Yeah.
not sexy mode now. I got some time off that's coming up, but I don't think I want to pay money for December Heat Ball yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same as paying in February or March before the playoffs, because that's when it's more intense.
Juicy.
That's telling us if we can get there or not.
Mm-hmm.
Things matter, and you pay a little extra for the event. If I just want to be there for the love of the game, I'll just watch the game in my boxers, right, at home. And so that's all I got for, I'm gonna say, for basketball. Baseball, nothing's happening in the winter meetings, because nothing ever seems to happen in the winter meetings anymore. I don't care about Sonny Gray going to the Cardinals. Try not to be a one hit wonder, right? You didn't do anything with us in the Yankees. I'm just throwing that shade, right? Throwing that shade. So if you want
Let's
to hop
see.
onto the petty train,
Let's see. Well, I mean, yeah, and then college football. Seminoles are still
oh,
undefeated. Hooray!
yeah,
So
yeah,
we did
some of
it.
those are still undefeated. They
So
did the thing
we're
to beat UF.
yeah, and
I
then
hate Mario Cristobal still.
yeah, Boston College really.
Yeah.
So there's
We're gonna
that.
get to a bowl game, so that's
Yeah,
gonna be great.
hooray! You
We're gonna get
guys,
into
guys are going to
the you
Memphis.
know yeah, we're gonna get to the the what's the I'm trying to think of what's the cheap headphones that you always see at Best Buy or Walgreens, the something
Ah,
towers.
what is a cheap set of headphones that you can see
I
at
know
the?
we have it in our head,
I'm just
and then
thinking
also
of like a dumb product or a dumb
well you know
service.
we're gonna go to the
You know,
Sour Patch
the
Kids Bowl.
Tax Slayer Bowl. There you go.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the Sour Patch Tax Slayer Bowl. Fine,
There you go.
whatever. You know, and I think Andrew wants like UCF to go against Miami. I'm like, sure. It's gonna be a very I kind of want it too, just so we can both talk trash about how bad we are in comparison when you're the actual real team into it. Because I was just seeing him on the Twitter putting
Yeah.
stuff like that because I think he was commenting somebody who said they wanted USF against UCF, but it's like that's you don't need that. It's not even a real rivalry. Sorry, Andrew.
Mm.
Yeah, I hate Mario because well, Tyler Van Dyke is announcing himself to the transfer portal. I'm just winning all last week, bud. I'm just
Mm.
succeeding. I get a new phone, I get new headsets, I get new games, I get to eat some good food, and I find out Tyler Van Dyke doesn't want to play with us anymore when he hasn't really been able to do much. That's fine by me. I can live with that.
All right. Um. All right. Cool. Let's go on the petty train because I feel like you're going to talk a lot about the wrestling, and
Yep.
I want to know about the wrestling for sure because I know some things, but I don't know everything, and I'd like to. And I think I have some questions.
That's
So
fine.
let's do it. So NFL narratives have not changed for me with the Dolphins, Charles. They have not. Black Friday game. Yes, the fail Mary. That was funny. That was funny between the New York Jets and the Dolphins, and Boyle throws an interception in the end zone, and the Dolphins return it completely the other way for a touchdown. That's always a hilarious thing between the Jets, but the Dolphins still have not beaten a good team.
Oh,
And you could say the thing with the Bills, not being a good team now, but they were a good team then, and the Dolphins still couldn't beat them. So, nothing about my narrative has changed, and the Dolphins are going to win their division by default at
I
this point.
have a narrative.
So, congratulations, you won the American League Central, Miami Dolphins.
And I have a narrative in conjunction
Mm,
regarding the Jets. You have to fire Robert Saleh now. I'm almost in full
mm,
belief of it. I've been saying what 3 weeks now, and you get rid of Zach Wilson because Zach Wilson was the problem, right? You bench him, and
mm.
you get destroyed. You get destroyed. It falls under, and it's not just his fault. It's also Joe Douglas that has an issue with it. I believe Joe Douglas is their GM. There's so many Joes out there, but of how it was all selected and developed and everything of that nature. But you have no offensive line. Could it have been that your offense sucks not just because of your coordinator, but you hired the guy who got fired and his first season without finishing out in Nathaniel Hackett, who is an offense player? Maybe, right? You know, these are possibilities. Brees Hall's not doing that much. Garrett Wilson's suffering. Dalvin Cook's useless. Alan Lazard isn't even playing. And yes, your defense is playing hard. That's fantastic. Even though you were a defensive hire when you were with the 49ers, you are responsible for all three phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. And nothing has been clicking. It's been 3 seasons. He was doing this back and forth between benching Zach Wilson for Mike White, back to Zach Wilson, whatever. You're going for Rodgers. Rodgers got hurt, and the idea is that you're going to have a guy accelerate his timetable, even though I don't think he's actually injured. Though I do like the Levitar conspiracy that his doctor says an Achilles injury when it wasn't, right?
Mm.
But he's not going to want to come back for a 4-9 team when the season's over and the AFC's wild card players are actually going to be past 500 for the most part.
Mm.
Isn't enough of what you've seen? You can get rid of him in that sense if you wanted to, and you can hire your offensive coordinator brain, you can hire your defensive coordinator brain, but the thing is that he's still the one who's bringing onto the staff. And if you hire a guy who doesn't work with your philosophies and Nathaniel Hackett for the promise of just getting Aaron Rodgers, it's not like Aaron Rodgers hasn't had other offensive coordinators. So that's why it made no sense to me. And you already saw that his offense that he called and Denver wasn't doing anything. Your defense is playing excellent. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. Your defense is playing stellar, except we're playing against, Miami. But how much leeway do you want? Is he a leader of men? Maybe, but do you think a lot of those young guys want to kind of play him? And also, you trade away a lot of those people, Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, that they were high draft picks. They were second and third rounders, I think. That's the narrative I'm just going to push because it doesn't seem like he's going to be for long. And that O-line's still busted. It's a bad marriage of GM and coaching. And I want to see what Woody Johnson does because I don't like him as an owner either. So screw him.
All right, let's go down the list here. The Packers beat the
and
Lions.
Tim Boyle is better. Will Levis is better than Tim Boyle.
There you go. There you go. The Packers beat the Lions, Charles. Jordan Love, frauds,
dude.
He's growing.
What's that thing we've been saying the last couple of weeks?
That,
yeah. You gotta let it grow and develop.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, Jordan Love with his first, real significant victory of the season. The Packers aren't that bad either. They're still 5-6. It's not a bad season. They could end up with 8 wins, right? That's doable for a first year quarterback. 8-9, 9-8,
maybe 9. Maybe 9's all 9-10. Yeah,
and the Lions have squandered seasons with hot starts before, so that's another thing that's in their history. There's always that possibility, but it was a very good win. Very nice to see Jordan Love getting some love. There you go. The Cowboys beat the Commanders.
Ron Rivera's getting fired.
So there you go. Washington.
Dallas Cowboys are the Miami Dolphins of.
Yeah, I mean, this is
the NFC East.
Yeah, Washington is. Yeah, well, that's true. The Cowboys haven't beaten anybody. Washington is going through a transition. They're still with all of the stuff from the Snyder era, so there's a lot of stuff that team's not going to be right for at least 3-4 more seasons. There you go. They don't even have hot running water in their stadium anymore. That's how bad it is. The 49ers beat the Seahawks.
Decent game.
The Colts beat the Bucks.
It's Jonathan Taylor's injured. I want Baker to do well. I don't really care for the Colts. The Titans ain't going to go far this season, but I don't want anybody getting too chippy and cheery and having faith.
Let's see. Keep going up the list here.
Will Levis is better than all those quarterbacks, by the way.
Well, the New York Giants beat the Patriots.
Will Levis is definitely better than Tommy DeVito and Mac Jones.
Yeah, and Brian Daboll actually beat Bill Belichick, his mentor. So that's funny as well in a very terrible football game for anybody involved. There you go. That's probably going to save his job. He's not getting fired. The Steelers beat the Bengals. Now the Bengals don't have anything anymore.
Will Levis is better than Jake Browning and Kenny Pickett.
There you go. The Jaguars.
Mike Tomlin is going to get to the damn playoffs with this team, and they're probably going to go deep in the playoffs, man.
They're going to face off.
That's what drives me up the wall.
They're going to face off against the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins are going to find a way to lose that game.
They legitimately have nobody on offense that is coherent. At least when the Titans made it deep into the AFC Championship, there was some competency. Being a decent quarterback.
I just need the most embarrassing outcome for the Dolphins.
It's lose. Like
they lose to the Steelers or to like the Jaguars or. I don't know if the Broncos somehow like eke into the playoffs and they lose to the Broncos after having like dropping 70 on them, and the Broncos come back to Miami and then beat them. That would be fun. I think that's the scenario. I need that one to happen, Charles.
Mm-hmm.
I need that one. I need Sean Payton to come back and stick it to the Miami Dolphins. Let's see. The our favorite low-brained quarterback is back, Charles. Desmond
Will
Ridder
Levis is
leads
better
the
than
Falcons
Desmond
to
Ridder.
victory.
Better than Derek Carr.
Yeah. Yeah. So, 24
It's
to
just
15.
bad all around, man. The
That,
Saints keep getting injured. They can't escape that.
yeah, but they're still in that division race. Somebody's going to win it. Somebody's going to win it with a losing record. Because they're 5-6. The Falcons are 5-6. The Buccaneers are 4-7, one game back. And who else is in that division? Who's the last team in that division? Saints, Falcons. Well, Carolina. Well, they're 1-10. They're not going to win it. But
Tell that to David Tepper. He's gonna say, "Hey, you guys are football players. Go win games."
run the table. They could legitimately run the table and win the division if all the other teams start to suck, which is entirely possible.
We need this chaos now.
The Rams beat the Cardinals.
Good for Matt Stafford. Will Levis is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray.
The Broncos are running the table. They've won again. They have a winning record now. 6-5.
I hate it. And I have two friends who are Broncos fans, but I don't like Sean Payton, as we discussed last week.
He's changing the culture, Charles. It's happening. They're finally buying in.
I bet the first thing he did to help out with Russ was be like, all right, guys, this is all the Subway menus. We're going to support Russ. We're going to support our quarterback. We're going to eat everything but the meatball marinara because that's the only thing you should get at Subway if you have to eat at Subway. Eat fresh.
The Chiefs beat the Raiders.
Man. Just when we think that, Patrick Mahomes and they're incompetent, all it takes is one bad team to make them realize how good they can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Chiefs can just turn it on when they feel like it. So it's
Will Levis is a better quarterback than Aiden O'Connell.
Well, yeah. The Ravens beat the Chargers.
Man, I hate this. I literally hate this. For 2 years,
The fall of Herbert.
I was gushing about Justin Herbert. You were even gushing about Justin Herbert and the Tua regret. And now we're like, you're just broken promises and broken dreams and go Lamar. Always love Lamar. We have always supported RB1. But I don't even know if it's a Brandon Staley gig or it's just, we just fell in love with an idea. I think we fell in love with an idea and we can't live the dream.
All right. The Bears beat the Vikings 12-10.
Glad I played video games and watched Raw. Will Levis is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. Will Levis is a better quarterback than Josh Dobbs. And look, my Josh Dobbs, I don't hate him really. You sure see it. Like, there's a reason why if Arizona was really willing to switch him out so quickly before Kyler Murray came back and they put Clay Tune. But remember, Josh Dobbs was a Titan for a bit, and he cost us some games, guys. Even if Tad Downing is your quarterback or your OC, that happens. But Dobbs cost some games, and Dobbs definitely cost Minnesota, a team that is likable because of Justin Jefferson. And he wasn't even playing. This game with 4 interceptions. What?
Yeah. And finally, Charles. Well, we have 2 more games, actually. Well, let's talk about this one. Yeah, your Titans beat the Panthers.
I'm going to give him the handy. He didn't break 100 yards, but he got 2
touchdowns. I was going to ask you about that. Does 2 count if he's like 24 yards short?
If it's the only touchdowns that we got, if I recall.
Yeah.
And he did kind of do great things. So, yes, we have our second Henry Handy of the season. Will Levis is a better quarterback than Bryce Young. Same draft class. Did not have to waste a first-round pick with him. We need some help. But DeAndre Hopkins does what he can. We love you, DeAndre. It's something. I'll tell you that. It's something, that's for sure. But very happy. Very happy. And we got somebody fired. Look at that. That's how you know you did a good job. I don't see Kyler Murray getting anybody fired in their first season coaching except for his own coach. That was like 4 years later. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, the Eagles beat Buffalo.
I watched that. That was a good game.
Yeah.
Buffalo has a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's great because you fire Ken Dorsey, and then just nothing's happening. And it's really on the offensive side of it, it's because you didn't give Josh Allen another guy to throw to besides Stephon Diggs. Dalton Kincaid, I think, is okay, but as a tight end, but there's some glaring things. And hero ball, man, hero ball is a dangerous concept, I feel. And good for the Eagles. They sometimes, you know what, man, they might not be that team, but they can be that team.
Mm.
You know, they're 10-1 and 9-1 now, but I liked what I saw.
Okay. All right. So that's the petty train. But I did well. We're at hour 31, so we're early. I mean, we started late, but we're as far as the show time is concerned, we're early to get to this. But it's because I want to hear about it. Charles, let's head on over to the cage because I'm intrigued. I'm actually very much intrigued.
All right, welcome everybody to your weekly Truplex The Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer: wrestling is not fake; it's a scripted fight. It's a stage fight, right? Song and dance about men and women chasing championships, establish legacies, being the holy hell of each other, giving me everything they got to keep me entertained in the form of soap opera, drama, action, just everything, just goodness. And I have been blessed. It's not a word I say often, but I have been blessed with not one but two back-to-back good pay-per-views, Francisco.
Mm.
Good pay-per-views that's going on. Last week, well, I guess it's 2 weeks ago now because I forgot wrestling's on Saturday, right? Two weeks ago, we had Full Gear, which had the greatest match of the year that I saw with Hangman and Page and Swerve Strickland. AEW, let's talk about it real quickly. They're doing the Continental Classic, which is their equivalent of I would say the G1, the New Japan G1 climax that you guys have heard me talk about before. So there's that component to it. Uh, they've only had one match I've seen, which was Brody King beating Eddie Kingston, and they go by points. It's not like you advance or not advance. It's not like the King of Reign. It's the Continental Classic, and whoever wins it gets the ring titles now. They jointly the New Japan Strong Openweight title, the Ring of Honor World title, and the Continental Classic title. So yeah, that's what we need, Tony Khan. More titles, right? And for whatever a sick obsession with connecting to other programs that you don't own and that you do own, I understand, and this is my beef with it. I understand that New Japan has a hard time to get into the American market. It's part of why you're doing Forbidden Door as is, right? I also understand that Ring of Honor is under a paywall. Oh, Miami's losing to Kentucky. I understand that there's a paywall that's kind of in place for Ring of Honor for those matches there because you can't, for whatever reason, or have not been able to procure a deal to get on live TV, whether it be on
Mm.
HBO Max, TNT, TBS, True TV, under the Turner Broadcasting stations. But I really think you need to keep it separate, to have its own individuality, its own identity, because there's AEW guys who wrestle Ring of Honor guys who wrestle in AEW, and then, all the same who go into New Japan for either for contract, purposes, where they're allowed in their contract to go wrestle elsewhere, like in the Indies or overseas, or maybe it's just part of a joint promotion to kind of get there. How Eddie Kingston was over there for the G1 Climax, right? And then won the New Japan Strong Openweight title. I don't know. I'm not saying that you have to have it be as isolationist the way that WWE has it. I would like that cross brand that they have, but I can't make the rules for everything. I'm sorry. But, they're going to be building up to World's End. The one thing I'll highlight about AEW, allegedly, but kind of confirmed, but allegedly, MJF, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, has a torn labrum. So samesies, bud, possibly for me and you. So we're
Mm.
labrum brothers in spirit. Um, some people wrestle through labrum injuries, some people don't. He is going to be defending against Samoa Joe at the World's End pay per view in December because remember, AEW finally expanded to at least 8 pay-per-views, which I think was needed. You know this because man, some of them was a long wait coming into all this stuff. But hopefully, you always want people to get healthy and be okay and be back to 100%, or at least be able not to have their abilities limited. But AEW is fine. It'll build into it. It will keep me more invested because we know that WWE does not have a December pay per view. Instead, it has the Royal Rumble. So, guys, we're going to be obnoxious with WWE because why? Your boy, the one and only idiot of the group here is the goof of the goofs, right?
Mm.
We're going to be There, January 27th. Don't ask me how much I spent. I have the right for my privacy to be respected, right? Don't ask me where I'm going to sit. I have a right to show you with my new phone because that's what we should be happy for with this new phone, bud. You guys are not going to get those really hazy kind of photos. You're going to be able to see sweaty man meat with my new phone because I'll find the meatiest guys. I'll find Bronson Reed. Like, look at this big mofo. I'll say this, I'll say this, I'll say this, go from there. Take all the photos and videos, and it's gonna be fantastic. You'll hear me screaming. What's the Drake meme I always send you guys when we talk about the Romo? It's gonna be great.
Mm.
But let's go on to Survivor Series because a shift happened. I watched the pay per view. I liked it a lot. Hunter, for whatever reason, can get Survivor Series down packed. Can't book a good SummerSlam if his life depended on it. That's 2 SummerSlams. I'm just it was kind of ass. 4. So Survivor Series was War Games, as I've said throughout the year. So I'm not going to go through entirely on War Games because listen, you have 4 seasons of War Games to discuss, whether it be NXT War Games or Survivor Series War Games, but it was a shorter card, went by very briskly. I liked it a lot. I don't know if it's going to be like, I don't really do pay per views of the years kind of thing, but it was probably the most well rounded pay per view for WWE that I enjoyed. That wasn't Backlash, but I think Backlash I enjoyed so much because I love the whole Bad Bunny Damian Priest match. But we started with Team Bianca versus Damage Control in War Games. That went about 33 minutes. That was good. It was more spot heavy, kind of. I had to take a moment to engage into it, but Io Sky just puts her body on the line. She was on top of that cage with a trash can over, and she dived down. There was good sequences. People looked out strong. Damage control lost because Bailey ate the pin because everybody murdered Bailey, which is a good story that they'll build into because the whole story is going to be what Bailey's going to get kicked out Damage Control, her own faction that she created because they brought in other people. But I like the ending sequences. Becky and Charlotte was a side story. Can they coexist? They've been friends, but they've actually had legitimate feuds with each other. Seems like maybe they made up or they at least realized that you got to do what's best for business, right? That's the whole thing. There's a running theme here of what I'm talking about. Old grudges die when the dollar signs are big and fat and there's multiple zeros. Hint, hint, we're going to get there. Don't you worry. But I like that match a lot. I thought it was a good War Games. Next year, let's get some diversity and not have the same people over and over again because it loses its luster a little bit. But the women did very well. Gunther versus The Miz. IC belt was on the line, so the whole thing for Gunther was, he's like reigning 500 days as your Intercontinental Champion. The Miz, who was a heel for a bit, kind of went a little bit face. But I don't know if it's permanent change. Is that he felt that he breathed. Oh, Kyle Lowry's down for the heat. He breathed life into the Intercontinental Championship when it was bad for a bit. He was trying to break the record or tie the record to be a 9-time Intercontinental Champion. Went against Gunther. I liked what he did was like he was the only guy who would try to cheat the win, so he'd like low blow Gunther and then he tried to take down the top apron, and maybe that's the way you beat Gunther. You can't out wrestle the monster. That's like trying to out punch the Hulk. It doesn't happen. But maybe we have other aspects that we can work with, right? So at the end, he loses. He taps out to the Boston Crab. Well, it wasn't even the Boston Crab. I'll say it's the Lion Tamer when Jericho used to do it, but puts his knee on the back. I don't know if that was planned, but I think it's a good wink to the past if it was intentional. But it was a good match. Santos Escobar, Dragon Lee, short little match that came on. The whole basis of it was that Dragon Lee stood in for Carlito because Santos Escobar was part of LWO. He turned heel, went against Rey Mysterio, and there's an automatic rule. If you turn against Rey Mysterio, you're going to be the most hated person on that roster. Look at Dominic Mysterio. Look how it worked well for that one. That might be one of my favorite matches. He got hit with the belt. So the match was good, short, but they were able to pop out. Santos won. It's the right thing to do. I know Dragon Lee just got called up. People like him, but you need to kind of like establish Santos a little bit too because he's nothing to snuff at either. I liked him in NXT. I like him on the main roster. Now that he'll kind of get his own gig. The question is, are they going to have him have his LWO people turn as well down the line? I think they'll set up for Santos being going against Rey Mysterio at Mania, and I think that works for me. Rey is at that point where he's your old guard who should always have kind of like a Mania match, like your Taker and Hunter and everything like that before they all want to retire. Women's title match for the WWE Women's World Champion, because remember there's 2 of them. The Io Sky is your WWE Champion, Women's Champion. It's always tough to kind of differentiate, right? WWE champion. She was in the War Games match, but Rhea Ripley had defended her title against Zoe Stark for the Women's World Championship match. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think they showed out. I think it was well rounded. I enjoy the match. Rhea Ripley retains, and we'll see where it goes. Men's War Game match. Mm, mm. One more time with feeling, kids. Mm. I don't think it was better than last year's War Games match, which was Sami Zayn being accepted into the Bloodline, but it was damn good. So it was Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and then Randy Orton coming back after being gone for like 500 plus days with a serious back injury. And I love Andrew. He blows up the chat. Is this real? Is this real? Is this real? Yeah, it's real, bud. It's a real injury. It's a real return. It's a real this. It's a real that. You really kind of get the gravitas of what it means for somebody that has been a face of the company for 2 decades to see how serious the back injury was, because that's the thing. It creates a natural baby face, right? I was injured. I had a severe back injury. I didn't know if I was going to retire. I had to talk to my doctors about it. I had to do all this kind of, rehab, medication, whatever you have to do. And now I'm here for you guys because I love this sport. I love you people. How could you not root for us, right? How could you not root for him? He doesn't need to do that, but that's the concept of it. Versus Judgment Day. So Judgment Day loses, but there was an interesting aspect of it because they delayed Randy coming out and they're ready to come out. But before Randy came out, is that Rhea Ripley was coming in to cash in the briefcase on Damien's behalf to make it a title match inside the cage. I don't know how the logistics will work out, but remember, Drew McIntyre was with Judgment Day as a handshake agreement to be part of it because he just wants to rip up Jey Uso. The hate boner that man has is admirable. The petty is admirable. I kind of want to put you as my Saint Petty Saints on my council table. Jesus has apostles. I have my petty apostles. I want to put this Drew McIntyre pettiness of how much he hates the bloodline and anybody who just can't see reason. Because the idea is Drew really a bad guy if he's just calling people out for spots on Toad, right? If Toads have spots, you'll hear different variations, but that's one I'm going to pick. I liked it. There were some good bumps in there. Randy's RKO to Judgment Day or to JD McDonough was interesting. I liked it in the draping DDTs. It was a good match, man. It took my time. And then Randy was coming back. Rumors, because where are we at Survivor Series? This is how I should have started the show. We're in Chicago. What's important about Chicago? Nothing. Chicago sucks when it comes to wrestling. They think they own wrestling. It's annoying because for decades, or not decades, but for years, I hear CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. And you know how I feel about CM Punk, but remember about CM Punk, he was with AEW, came back 2021, got hurt, came back, got suspended as Brawl Out, right? And then got fired in August for choking Jack Perry, which was great. You'll never know the full story, and I want to know the full story because dirt sheets can't get everything. So the whole idea is like, would he go back to WWE? And the idea is that he wouldn't want to go back to WWE. I think the common literary assessment of it is like, Lucifer wanted going back in heaven. If you read Milton, Paradise Lost, he says it's better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Or on a modern day equivalent, thinking of like Voldemort wanting to go live as a muggle, what he did everything to go be, magically. Yeah, there's a little bit of Hogwarts nerd with me. I don't know how else to like explain it sports wise, so I have to go like with pop culture ish. Going from there, I got a better one here. It's like Bill Belichick actually going back to the Jets because remember he was technically the Jets head coach for 2 days. Yeah, actually that does fit a little bit there. So there was a lot of toxicity. There was a lot of problems. He was done being wrestler for 2014. His last match was against Billy Gunn. I like Billy Gunn. He's the trios champion for the Acclaimed, but I wouldn't want to be going against Billy Gunn if I'm CM Punk on my main adventure. And this time it's like Vince McMahon, his ego, creativity, hate everything. And when we got to AEW, he had a lot of good feuds. He had a lot of smack talks that he was doing, and there was just temper problems. And it's Chicago, and the rumor was like Punk's coming to WWE. I'm like, ain't no fucking way. 5. I'm like, ain't no fucking way. 6. I'm like, I understand Hunter's in play, but Hunter also kind of hates Punk. And then, but you think about it, Vince is gone. And Vince, you just see Triple H's blueprints on everything. Vince ain't coming back. Man. I'm almost certain. I would hope. I really hope. Charles needs to keep my Christmas. Now I just need to see the obituary that says Vincent Kennedy McMahon. That's how much we dislike him. Let that be my Christmas gift. But they were like, there's like no way it can happen, right? So we have that portion as Duncan Robinson makes it 3 beautiful son of a bitch 7. It's 93-90 Heat. You see, I'm doing my part as being the heater out of the group here. So it's coming in. Randy wins. He gives Cody the pin on Damian, which was big because they're not going to pull the proverbial trigger yet on Cody and Roman. I swear, I can't do a Cody winning a second Royal Rumble straight. There's other things he can do to kind of take us there. Jimmy is hurt or he flopped. But I think I was a legal screen to take us there. But, you have to do something. So, he's going to be feuding with Shinsuke. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll talk about that next week. But I'm like, all right, everybody's doing the Randy Orton happiness pose, all this, oh, it was bam, all these people going from there. You see the WWE copyright logo that happens, Francisco. I'm like, all right, it's done. This is a very good pay per view. And then I hear the microphone switch, and then it goes to Cult of Personality by In Living Color. And that's Punk's theme song that was most known for in WWE, even though he had This Fire Burns as well. And also in AEW, you hear the I'm like, ain't no fucking way, bro. Because here's my thoughts on CM Punk. I can appreciate him. I have watched the WWE Network. I think he's testing on the mic. His matches, for me, could have left some things to be desired. And that could have been because it was in the WWE product. There's different ways of how they want it done here versus Ring of Honor, New Japan, Indie Wrestling, AEW. I did watch AEW matches with him. I paid the full gear originally from 2 years ago to watch him versus Eddie Kingston, a match I loved, which was great. He's a little bit winded down. There's certain things he has to do, but I wasn't for him getting the AEW championship. I don't think that was a push. The guy, I felt really didn't need it. I felt like it was Tony Khan playing with his favorite toys to do it, right? But whatever, it's your company. You run it the way that you want to run it. Do I think Tony Khan runs a good product? Yeah, sometimes. Do I think there's things I hate that he does with product? Yeah. I also do the same thing with WWE, with Vince, and with Hunter. Right now, AEW hasn't pushed into a degree where I just like stray away and not watch it for months on end because under Vince McMahon, WWE, we're getting there. I didn't watch for years, and there was times where I just disappeared. But we're always bound to it if we don't modify and alter it. But he comes out, slaps his hand, he does the clobber in time, and goes from there. Seth Rollins is freaking out, and of course there's Andrew. Was that real or was that fake? Because I heard he didn't like him, and I'm just like, no, they're perpetuating. Dude, I'm getting Punk and Rumble. I don't know if I'm getting Punk versus Rollins at Rumble or I'm getting Punk at Rollins at Mania. But if I got Punk, versus Rollins at Rumble, if there was no title line, I'm just walking in fully erect. That entire 5 hours at Trop, man, the Trop Center, which is not something that you hear a lot of people say at Tropicana Field, right in Tampa. But I'm going to be ready for it because even though you've heard me critique, and I've been candid about my feelings on CM Punk, it's like, okay, I can see the appeal, but not something I always need in my face. But if you treat him like a spectacle, the way Taker was, or the way Sting is, right? Or Sting is actually being very well utilized in AEW, in my opinion. But if you do that as the big 4 or 5 pay-per-views, I think you accomplish what you're seeking. And you don't really have him do it for an up-and-comer in this place. You have him go against Rollins, Roman. You have him go against Kevin Owens. I need that Kevin Owens feud. I think it could work because, you got to know how to utilize your people. And we got a good run out of Edge, right? Even though I think he kind of faded out with the Judgment Day stuff and he won a majority of his feuds, and now he's over in AEW as Adam Copeland doing great things. You can have a similar effect with Punk if you just put him with the same guys that Edge was feuding with. Edge feuded with Rollins, Edge feuded with Roman, Edge kind of lightly feuded with, Bryan and that triple threat leading to it, feuded with Finn Balor, feuded with all these people. You can get that kind of same effect. Maybe pepper in some AJ Styles and CM Punk because I think they've only wrestled one time, just to make me feel good about myself. Let's bring that in. I'm for it. It's a multi-year deal, like 2 or 3 years. Do as a spectacle. He came out last night. He did his promo, how he feels at home, and he looks soulless in the eyes. And Twitter's been having fun with it. But I need people to realize, too, is that WWE is a scripted product, including their promo. So they're not going to let him go off the handle. And there's probably an NDA. Remember, he was fired. So, everybody's probably trying to avoid lawsuits. But it's an interesting time. And they say hell froze over. And, Punk is a Chicago Blackhawks fan. So I feel like you should appreciate that because they're in Nashville. So we saw them with the Nashville Predators, being cheered by Nashville fans. So that's how I bring it all back together for you, brah. Interesting times because really it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend mentality, or maybe me and my buddy were talking about this. I think he just wants to end his career the right way, the way he wants it to be ended, where he didn't just lose the luster of wrestling and doesn't want to be where he just gets, disgraced and he's just, his fall from grace was getting fired because he used as being toxic and all that stuff. He might be that person in AEW. It might be warranted. Maybe it might not be warranted. I really don't care. These are grown-ass people. And when it comes to business and employment, what's the one thing that matters in WWE or AEW? The quality of wrestling matches, Francisco? No,
Hmm.
money. Selling merchandise,
Mm-hmm.
selling out venues, getting pay-per-view subscriptions, getting everything. And what has he been doing since him and Randy came back? He's the top selling merchandise since this weekend. What was he in AEW? The top selling merch. You guys missing the plan here. And yeah, he's taking blood money. Part of it is there's some beef because of the fact that he's doing the criticisms. Because when WWE had the Saudi deal, Miz was saying something. Miz Mazan, the real wrestler who we mentioned on Survivor Series, and he talked about, and I'm going to quote it if I can recall it. Go covered, blood soaked, blank blank dick,
Hmm.
9. I won't say the
Hmm.
full word of it because I think there might be some prejudicial stuff that I don't want to say.
Mm.
But so there was some hypocrisy. But listen, when it comes to life, all we should be is seeing green, never be colorblind, right? That's the effect I think that we have to have in terms. But interesting times. Am I excited for it? Debating. If they're going to throw them away with useless feuds that I don't need to see
Hmm.
to bring over young talent, we're not there yet. Like, it's a spectacle. Have the spectacle be there. I'm there for Rollins versus him. I'm there for Roman versus him. I'm there for
So, so,
Owens versus him.
so, so this all happened like basically like a decade ago, right? Where
He left WWE in 2014. He got fired on the day of his wedding, if I remember correctly.
really?
I go back into it. Yeah, when he married AJ Lee, who is also a love wrestler, who he mentions her in a promo last night. So maybe she comes back at Rumble. And she was part of Women's of Wrestling, which was, it had something going on, like real wrestling, like an organization. I think she left because of creative differences
Hmm.
recently.
I see. Okay, but he was fired. Was it is it part of like one of their purges where they just get rid of contracts
No,
or?
no, no. He was so big to handle, dude. He wasn't.
Okay.
I don't think he was. I'm bringing up here as you're searching it. Was CM Punk fired from WWE on his wedding day? And then Sportskeeda, take that as you will.
Mm.
Yes, CM Punk was fired on his wedding interview with Colt Cabana. CM Punk revealed that transpired on his wedding day. He talked about the way WWE used him, his injuries, and a lot more. Um, he had quit the company but opened the side of the story. He said he was fired,
Mm.
on his wedding day. So there you go. Day of my
Okay.
wedding, I got a FedEx in the mail. It was my termination papers. I was fired. I was fired on my wedding day. Very calculated, very deliberate. As much as I chuckled at it and didn't let it affect my day, I was once again, you pushed too fucking far. 10. You pushed the wrong guy. Explained CM Punk. That was on the podcast. When he had Colt Cabana, they had beef. Colt Cabana and him had beef. They sued each other in litigation.
Good
Both of
lord.
them did work in AEW as well, so they kept Colt off of AEW. And then he was on. Remember, they gave CM Punk Collision, the Saturday show, because of the beef that he had with the Elite, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, the Young Bucks, and presumably other wrestlers too. So he was gone for like 7 years, man. And he tried to do the UFC stuff, got his ass handed to him, 12 or 11.
Mm.
But at least you try, right? Sometimes I try to deadlift and then I pop my fucking 12 shoulder. So I feel you.
Okay. Alrighty then. Well, that's.
What questions do you have for me?
I mean, it was just just like the history behind it, because like, that stuff was trending when it
So
happened.
I'll put it like a 3 sentence thing. Punk had some success in the Indies, including Ring of Honor. I had a great feud with Joe. He got put onto WWE. Paul Heyman, who is known for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, right? That guy. He was a booker. He had creative control and stuff like that. He was known for ECW. He wanted to push CM Punk. He saw potential in the guy from his wrestling skills, from his way of working the mic, stuff like that. And then I felt like Vince put in. I hear so much for 3 sentences, right? 3 paragraphs. I feel like Vince put in hollow championship victories onto him, and then came the pipe bomb where he sat down, spoke about everything. I sent it to you, on the Twitter link or YouTube link, so you get from there. And it made him popular amongst the people. And I think he kind of worked with the agenda of like how much people hate Vince's control, right? And the fact that Vince only cares about one thing: money. So if it comes at the expense of him, if you're going to insult him, but you can make money off of it by having people buy this guy's shirt. He did it with Austin in the Attitude Era. Francis, is your boss gonna let you like beat him up and then do some cool stuff on you or on him? No,
Maybe that happened to Corey Perry. Maybe that's why they're not revealing.
exactly, right. But so that's Vince, and so I think he did with Punk. But Punk might have some problems too. And it's kind of tough because we got to remember the one thing. I'm going to defend Punk here, Strange, right? You can't quit on Vince really because he doesn't let you. Sasha Banks, who's on Mercedes Moné, tried to, and she wanted to quit after the WrestleMania tag team match with Bayley against the women, and then Vince is like, "I'm not gonna fire you. Just take some time off. Go heal yourself." And what happens? She just kind of let her, her contract expire. She went from there. Punk was fired, so he didn't come back and stuff like that. So it's kind of tough when you're in a contract and you have to honor that contract, and they won't release you from that contract. Why won't they release you from that contract, Francisco? You know why? Because if I release you from that contract without the non-compete and stuff like that, if I got you for 5 years and you want to wrestle these 2 years, I don't want to release you from it because that means you can go to the new brand now and go elsewhere. And you knew he wasn't going to come back to WWE when he expressed interest in AEW and he got signed there. But with everything that happened in AEW, now he's back in WWE. So I think it's that relationship with Hunter, and I think Hunter just wants to make money, and they're doing a good job making a ton of cash. Everything's been sold out. Like Survivor Series had largest gate in Chicago, and was that one time. Now the Chicagoans who are Punk fans get what they want, which is Punk in WWE. Which the question to ask yourself, my man, is that really what's best for the wrestling business for a guy? Because you don't understand when he got fired and left and everything like that, and then come back. You would have crowds in Chicago and other places shout CM Punk, CM Punk. It was annoying. It was like the what chant. But now that you have it, there's a gravitas and aura to him. And if it's about making money, making business, and everybody being accountable, and I think it's different time. The product might not be for the viewers who are going from AEW to WWE to see it, to follow him, and be like, I'm not gonna like it. You're probably not, right? A lot of people like to mesh it, like me, and some people don't. It's okay to be singular or to mix both of them. But what's going to happen is that I think the work environment for him in WWE is probably going to be more conducive to what he wants health-wise, mental health-wise, physical health-wise, emotional health-wise, under Hunter administration. One would think it's crazy because Hunter buried so many people throughout his career versus some of the other ones. So that's all my spot on a CM Punk phrase. I will tell you, though, I did pop. I popped and get excited when I saw him. Like, what the fuck? 13, because I didn't even believe it. That's like that buddy who always bails on you that says he's gonna meet you at the bar for drinks. Like, nah, man, he always bails on me, and then you just see him cowboying it up.
Sora from Kingdom Hearts being smashed, was it like that level?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. That's the perfect way.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm seeing here, and of course they put their stuff out there. The most social moment in WWE history, which I'm assuming is like social media engagement, on Twitter and Instagram and a bunch of stuff, So, okay. Well, that's what I wanted to know. That's you put it there nice and succinctly, Charles. Is that it for the cage?
That's it for the cage, guys. I feel like now that I have these headphones that are noise cancellation, I can actually control my speaking. I feel like I get tangents, but they're more articulated tangents. I'm on the Ritalin, kids.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it for us, Charles. It's 1-1 going into OT between the Leafs and the Panthers, so that'll be interesting to see how that ends. And then we'll be back next week. That's be the start of December, so we might have 2, maybe 3 more episodes before we take our break, and then we'll be done with it. And we'll be back sometime in January before said Royal Rumble. Bye, everybody.
Take care.